Absolutely. Yeah. We had a lot going on yesterday in Ann Arbor for sure. So, Colin Kaepernick in town making waves, making headlines, Spike Lee as well. So, it was a lot going on for sure. But, the boys put on a show as well. This was, I'd say, the biggest thing for like the first thing to talk about is they played a real game. First time under Harbaugh for sure that they played a real game and got to smacking. So, that was cool in itself.
That is cool to see because they took it to the pretty much nth degree outside of Cade McNamara.
Yep.
That, hey, even the quarterbacks are going to get hurt. Not hang on, get
Hold
hit.
Knock
Sorry,
sorry,
Michigan fans. I didn't. Yeah, they're going to get hit. They're going to have to elude the rush, and because the pass rush is difficult to gauge in the typical setup, because just because a quarterback gets touched by a finger on the shirt sleeve doesn't mean he typically is going to get sacked.
Right.
But in this game, hey, we got to see it. So, Justin, I'm going to start. You know what? You led me down a path there with some of the pregame festivities. We saw Spike Lee on the sideline. Colin Kaepernick worked out at halftime. That probably got most of the national pub from non-Michigan fans, of course.
Right.
But I got to tell you, we did a watch party here. We watched the entire game, took calls, and that move by Harbaugh in naming Kaepernick, that's one of those deals where you're going to divide some people.
Yeah, and that's why I heard rumblings about it before it was happening and before it was even public, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't, whatever side you're on, I don't really care, obviously, but I think you are making you're taking a side kind of if you're Harbaugh, but I don't think he cares. I think he doesn't give a rat's ass about all that. I think that he more is trying to just help out his guy. Kaepernick was his quarterback in San Francisco. They've had a tight relationship. He talked about it last year that they had been in contact throughout, all of Kaepernick's headlines and things that he's done over the past couple of years. And Kaepernick reached out and said, "Hey, I want to do this. I'm trying to do these things publicly so that people know that I'm ready. And, I'm trying to get a shot." So I think it was simply politics aside, Jim Harbaugh helping out his former quarterback and trying to help him get a shot.
And that's what I respect. That's what I respect, what you just stated there, regardless of I'm taking the politics out of the side in regards to where you stand with Colin Kaepernick or against him. I'm just talking about the decision that Jim Harbaugh made. And I will tell all Michigan fans who missed the watch party yesterday, I came on here and I made fun of it at the beginning in a sense that I was like, man, am I having a mental block here? I remember the Navarre years, the Henney years, even the Scott Sheridan and Tate Forcier years. I don't remember. How did I forget? How did I miss that? But yes, there's an obvious connection between the two. And Jim Harbaugh is doing a solid for a guy that was good for him, good to him. They had a great relationship in San Francisco. They accomplished so much. They came within basically a throw in the end zone of winning a Super Bowl. And it's just, that's being a friend.
Yeah, and I think that does speak to what Jim Harbaugh does for his players and the relationships he has with his guys. We've talked about it a million times on here. I've talked about it a ton. He's doing this. He's bringing all these alumni back. He's got great relationships with a lot of these people now. I think that he has become this guy over the past couple of years where he realizes that coaches, not even just him, but coaches' relationships with players is almost more important than the X's and O's. In the past, I know he had guys like Ed Warner that was a fantastic X's and O's guy as the offensive line coach. I know for a fact that players were not a fan. So he's putting that, before anything else. And I think that's important. And so the other part that I love too was Harbaugh didn't go into the locker room at halftime. He stayed out there. He was like running the show, calling the plays for Kaepernick. So it wasn't just like, hey, yeah, I'll help you out. You get the field. He was in it, which I respected that even more.
Absolutely. And it was entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
It's entertaining watching a guy that played quarterback in the NFL throw the ball around. And did he look good? Yes, at times. And at times he didn't look so good based on, we're used to seeing, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson do these kind of passing drills and everything's do. But we got to understand he's not working with those guys all the time, so that's a bit difficult, the timing of it. But yeah, it's you could hear Harbaugh on the field calling out the routes. Da, 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 da.
Yep.
It was good.
It was good stuff. And I know for a fact that he had about 30 minutes prior with those receivers in the practice facility to get ready. So
Yeah.
and those weren't like top draft picks, let's be honest. So, there were a couple brick hands, it looked like, and I think he had to like let off the steam a little bit. Those first ones, he was just slinging it, and it was too much for those guys to handle. But, I could see him being ready for maybe not a starting QB position, but backup possibly, who knows. But either way, it was interesting, cool to see all that type of stuff.